Hey folks, welcome to Butterfly Bricks, hope you're all well. Lego instructions and boxes. Do you keep yours? Well, it's a funny thing for all Lego fans, and it all depends on what type of collecting you do. Are you going to resell, or are you a parent who hasn't even thought about it, or do you never open sets at all? There's no right or wrong way, but I definitely recommend you keep the instructions. Even though there is a Lego instructions app, you should keep them, and this is why. Here's part of this year's modular, the bookshop, and this was dropped by one of my kids when he was setting up a street to play with. But that's fine, we've collected it all together. He's been messing about building something else, but now I'm going to have to find the instructions to rebuild it again. I know a lot of people don't even keep the instructions, and I used to just chuck them in a drawer we had in the office. I never thought about them. I started getting back into Lego again in 2009, when this was the biggest news story and we were all going to die of swine flu. And for the first few years, I actually never kept any of the instructions or boxes at all. It was more of a collection thing, and I hadn't started doing mocks and rebuilds at that time. I'd only bought a few of the large Star Wars clone sets and city stuff, and it never crossed my mind to keep this stuff. It wasn't until around 2012 that I actively tried to keep hold of them. I also kept pretty much every single box of every set from 2012 until 2018, and probably worst of all, I kept the numbered bags. Thousands of them. They were all stuffed in a big Batcave box for years. I even kept the used sticker sheets. Mental. But I gradually came to the realisation that I was never going to sell another set again. I will be keeping all of them. And not only that, but I've bought loads of sets on eBay which didn't have boxes anyway, so why am I keeping them? It was time to declutter. I got rid of all the small sets and only kept the very large UCS ones, the modular ones and the large Ninjago and Batman sets. Then finally last year in May, I put them all in the recycling bin, even the Disney Castle and Assembly Square. It was such a strange feeling, yet cathartic, and I felt motivated to get a bit better organised and stop holding on to things, and now we have a Lego box-free house. Instructions, on the other hand, are like a wee time capsule of Lego history, and it's a wealth of knowledge and building techniques that I can just quickly look up. Here's an old ARC 170 from 2005. I got this in 2009, it was still on a shelf in a store. Ah, the old school clone turbo tank. That was awesome at the time. Wow, this was when the Lego game first came out on PS2. I remember this well. Shame it's ripped. Go friend sets. We've got a ton of these. They're well suited to rebuilds and using for mocks. Here's the hotel from 2015, I think this is. One of my favourites. I once rebuilt this into a 4-storey house for my Lego city, but it's now back rebuilt in all its glory. The hotel lobby has an interesting grand piano side build, and the black cab was a great additional vehicle. What a great set. Nice seeing the evolution of the modular. The cinema had 3 separate booklets back then. I much prefer the one big book you get these days. And these Creator 3-in-1 builds are a lovely range. Handy instructions too. We actually used these to make a whole series of fold-out buildings in the same style. Disney Castle instructions. Whoops, I ripped the cover. Huge book this one. And loved all the details inside, pointing out the many references of the build. Such an enjoyable build. I've actually used these instructions to help me build a regular castle for my old knight set as well. I used the wall technique. So I'm getting there. I've been putting them into piles of themes, and any that are large, regardless of the theme, can all get stacked together. Nice and neat. I've got a separate area that these can all go in, and now I'll finish organising all the small ones. I've got simple poly pockets for the small ones, and there's IKEA freezer bags for the ones that are larger than A4 size. Smaller Star Wars sets, I'll sort these into era rather than release dates. It's easier to find in my head, I think. Here's a whole bunch ready to go in the tub. And I've got a Lego bag here for all the miscellaneous ones like brick heads, chess set, old brochures, stuff like that. I probably made enough space for a few wee sets without the missus knowing. If you're thinking of reselling your sets, then obviously keep your instructions, but I'd recommend you do it anyway, as it's super handy for rebuilds and the app only goes back so far. For boxes, if you are reselling, then yeah, keep them, but try to flatten them. I always did this. Of course you have to be careful with the end stickers that Lego put on them in the manufacturer, but really most buyers don't mind. What's important is there's no scratches or watermarks or rips, etc. And I use a craft knife to do this. And obviously if they're kept flat, there's less chance of them getting damaged. It's hard not to keep hold of the UCS boxes and the modular ones, and I think they're bonny even on display or to even use as actual storage for other things in the house. However, I honestly think if you want more space for your actual bricks, then get rid of your boxes or do what I used to do when I was a kid. I used to cut out the front of the box only and keep them. I'd love to know what you do. Can you never part with boxes and instructions, or do you not even open the sets? And how much space is too much for non-brick items? Let me know in the comments. I hope you liked the video. Don't forget to hit subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you don't miss a thing, and check out my other videos here too. Bye!